Alright guys, it's Ken at Lionel for Less, and we're back for part 2 of how to redo and restore, rewire, clean and a Postwar F3. Okay, we left yesterday. I ran out of my memory card. I was still recording. We pulled this truck out. It had oil all over the top, so I just basically took a paper towel and cleaned some of the oil off of it. You're going to want to take that, throw that out. You also, it's a good idea to wear a pair of, those like neoprene gloves, like mechanics gloves, so your hands aren't all black all the time from doing this. Okay. So from there, this is what we're looking at. So we'll go here to one of our screws on top, and these basically hold the steps and the side frame on there. You will clean these, see how they look. We might leave them original, we might redo them, shoot them silver. I often do. Throw those into a separate bin. Same thing, just repeat on this side. There is a left and a right on these, believe it or not, as far as the steps go anyway. And there you go, you got your step and your side pilot off. Okay, so now we're basically looking at the rear truck here. It's a rear powered truck, it's called. You'll see it's different when we get to the dummy truck. You can see when you roll it, the gear in the back here moves. That's what touches the motor that's spinning, makes this all go. What you'll do there is unscrew these two screws. Try to keep all these parts in a separate bowl so you'll know where the screws go when you go back to reassembly. And you'll remove this cover. Now, you see we have, the actual drive shaft in there. And here's a ball bearing right in here. If you want, you don't have to take that out if you don't want to. But if you want to, you just lift up on it. It's a little tricky at first. And you grab it and pull the ball bearing off. Okay, of that side. Put that in your parts bin and then go back here and push this up and voila, we have the drive shaft out. Now, a lot of times, and most of the time, cleaning these up and removing all this old stuff and putting fresh stuff in will make the train run a lot faster. And after you're done reassembling. You look down inside, and this one, yeah, it's got some old caked on stuff. Some of them are real terrible if they have set in hot attics and things. This stuff will be like cement in there. This is not too bad, actually. So someone has looked at this in the past 10 years or something. But when we get to the cleaning thing, I'll show you how we're going to clean this out. And it's gonna be like, from the factory again. Back here we have the rear coupler. There's no reason to take that off. If you did want to though, however, you would just put your screwdriver under here, exert a little force, pull it out. These are non-operating, and I don't know if you can see down in there, there's the gear that the drive shaft, the worm drive shaft hits the back wheel, and a gear up here where it also hits the front wheels. Now inside of these are where the magnet traction axles are. We don't disassemble it anymore from here. You could take this off if you wanted to, but there's nothing under there. Be very careful when you're cleaning this, because this all that nice made in America and Lionel Corporation stuff will come off, and you'll still have where it's, you know, been burned in there, heat stamped in there, but you won't have the white anymore. So that goes into the same bin. Okay, so here's where we were with the motor. Okay, now all of these F3s came joined as a pair with this 3-wire, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word. These wires here though are quite, they're brittle. Harness. A 3-wire harness that joins the two motors. The best way to take those off is there's a piece up here on top of the battery holder that holds that harness down. You'll see it has a screw, a set washer, and the piece that does the holding. Let's set those into the pile that's going to go into the box that, or container that's going to go for our battery bracket. That way we'll know where that stuff goes back. Now after you do a few of these, you don't need, you know, 6, 5 containers. You'll know where stuff goes. Okay, so our next step is to remove the front motor in the same manner that we did the rear one. Take the screw out, try to locate the locking washer. Which this one doesn't have one. How about that? So we'll have to go into the parts drawer over here for that. Again, take it off. If you're losing some of your magnetism, put your thing back in there, screwdriver back into the magnetic thing. And that one does have one on there. And by lock washer, it's just a washer with a split in it, and it's kind of bent up a little bit, and it holds it in a certain place at a certain angle, or place where it should be, I should say. But no, I do not see the... No, there was not a lock washer on the other one, on the other screw. Okay, so by this time, we should be able to, if we weren't obstructed here by this wire running to the light bulb, which that we're going to see, because right now we can just almost remove that truck as soon as we take... This is where the power runs down to the collector underneath the rollers. Okay, so let's get our wire cutters. Let's cut the headlight, which will always usually just run to the E unit, to the hot post here on the E unit. Get that out of the way. And now, maybe, well, we should cut this last wire, which is the hot wire. Let's see how they've got that rigged up. The hot wire that goes to the horn relay. So they've got the collector wire going to the second post on the horn relay. The hot wire meaning the one that goes down to the roller underneath the truck there. Let's cut that off of here. And this is not factory wiring. When we put it back together, I'll show you how to wire it like the factory, which I learned from the Greenberg repair manual. Okay, so there's our set of motors. Now, if these wires were in better condition, these are the originals, but they are brittle, so I probably will just make a new harness for them. So let's just cut those off. One from one post here, this one from the field, and this one from our other spring. And we pulled up those through there. If in theory it works good. Oh, we've got one more right there. And there we've got one motor freed up. And you repeat the process with this one. Now, this one will be soldered to the top of this spring. There's a post on there. Cut that off. Cut off the one that runs to the field. Cut off the one that goes to the other brush or spring. It's the spring in this circumstance. And there. As you see, you know, that's why you do jobs like this. You know, because really these motors are probably not getting the exact amount of current that they could, because this wire is old and brittle now, and we're going to have to replace it. Okay, so we'll throw that in there anyway, just for good measure, and it'll be a whole separate episode. I will show you how to clean these motors and put new brushes in them and you know, all that jazz. So what we've got left here now is only one wire, the hot wire, running to the horn relay. Okay, we're going to now remove the truck. The front truck. Okay. Now, on this year, it was particularly difficult to get these. There's our lock washer. That was supposed to be inside the motor. It's down there. Keep your eye out for things like that. That stuff happens. There goes the cameraman. not going to pay you as much tonight. Let me see if he's still on focus here. And I do thank everyone for all the nice comments and things from yesterday. As you can see, I am doing this myself. This is not some kind of big production thing we got going on over here, that's for sure. Now, if you miss something or I go too fast or too slow, okay, instead of doing, okay, let's do this. Now, I'm going to need to get the Greenberg out here in a minute because this is a job to get this piece here off. There's some certain things we can do to make it easier. So, let's do them. Okay, just take a look at that. I mean, that needs cleaned. Okay, so we're going to start by, once again, removing the screw that holds the side frame in and the step. Putting those into their own bin. So we keep everything simple in the, you know, when you're starting out. I myself have not took one of these apart in about 2 to 3 years. And the last one I did was a 2353, which was not as difficult to get the pilot off. But I will show you what you do when you run into little shit like that and you get your Greenberg out and it walks you through it. Because I myself probably will need to walk through it. Okay, we'll take these 2 screws out. You know, and you know, if you want to, at this time, you can just take a paper towel, shoot some CRC on there, clean that up a little bit so you're not working in a bunch of gunk. Okay, put that screw back in the front thing there, and see, that will help us out here. Okay, we've removed the front piece again, top piece, the copper piece I call it. And it will have this this piece on there. And this piece helps to stabilize the coupler in front. So this piece is often missing. So once again, it'll be on here like this, and it clamps onto this part of the coupler and keeps it stabilized while it moves around the track and is maybe hooked up to another car. More important on the rear unit than the front one. But okay, now see, now we can get at these 2 screws that hold the pilot on. And the coupler. Undo those. Yeah, it's been a long day. Had not the best day at work, but that's why I have this hobby, to unwind. And you know, I'm in control of something, at least. That'll all, you know, come out. Now there's a certain way, if you remove this screw, that'll take the shield off of the coupler. Put that into the front truck bin. And now that shield will come off. And now we can disconnect where the, you know, where the coupler throws from the sliding shoe down here. And we'll reconnect that later. We need our wire cutters again, and here they are, our handy wire cutters. We'll cut that connection. Now here's the part that's tricky. Now there's a certain way, only a certain way you can take these out. And the Greenberg shows you how. You have to go this way, that way. I should have looked beforehand. We'll look now. And I'll show you why this book is such a valuable tool. As you can tell, there's no rehearsals here, nothing. Okay, and here's the diagram I am talking about. These last three pictures says method for assembling drawbar and coupler to apron. The shield is assembled last. Okay, so then it's got three distinct pictures of how you should put that thing to remove it, with arrows showing the way that you should move it. Okay, and I'm going to try to do this here. Okay, first it says down and up, then over. It's not as though over and through, and from the top here I should be able to wiggle it and get it out one way or the other. Like I said, I haven't done this in quite a while. I think now I got it turned the wrong way. Okay, over here, these are difficult, these F3, to take these out. Okay, I've got to keep it that way. Okay, now I've got it straight up way it's supposed to be. Down, around. Up. And through. I think somehow here. You have to mess with it. But that is the only way to do it, is the way that the book shows you. I should have rehearsed this a few times before I did this today. But if you study this, okay, so it was this way, came straight up, this way, up, and then out, out, and it's supposed to be through right now. It's not the easiest thing to do. After about 5 minutes, you'll get it out, and probably so will I. But I'm not going to struggle here and try to show you I'm some kind of pro. There you go. It came out. But that diagram is indispensable for getting this off and separating the pilot. Say you want to paint the pilot. You know, you want this, you don't want this in there at that time, so you need the book. You throw that into the front truck pile there. I mean, there's just no substitute for this book. There, we're looking at the whole front truck and every part that's in it. The worm shaft assembly, the worm shaft bearing, the little ball bearing that goes in there. Shows you how the wheels go in, how the collectors go in, insulating washers. It's all not as technical as it sounds, but that coupler thing will mess with you. Okay, so this one practically popped out on its own. This ball bearing and drive shaft here. Now we're going to have our other piece on the other side. We're going to fish out our other ball bearing. Goes into the front bowl there of parts. And here's the sliding shoe that trips the coupler. When you go over the uncouple section, press the button, and these two screws they hold down many valuable parts underneath here, so you'll need these. So be careful not to lose any of them. There's those little insulating washers. Gotta have that, or short. Like I said, once we clean everything up, it'll run a lot better. It should. It's been running okay as it is, but I just wanted to show the improvement after you put some time into this and do it. Okay, so now there's another insulator under there, which we've got to have. See how that is? That goes through this center thing, center hole here. This one goes through the back. That's our hot wire, our power. And we'll leave all those connected. Because usually, we'll clean that up. Because usually you can't make a better soldering job there than what is from the factory. But we'll inspect all this when it's time to clean it. It's still got good tension. But I think we're due for some new rollers. Yeah, it's fine. Very good. That goes into the front truck thing. And finally, we are left with the carcass of the front truck. Which, again, we could spray just now, for now. A little CRC. And there, it's not a grease pit.